Welcome to another episode of the Mind of George show. I'm in a really tubular mood, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. I am just happy today, and we're going to be covering my favorite topic, which is relationships. But not just relationships, we're going to be covering how to re-engage a cold audience with relationships. And so this is something I get all the time. Now, first, before we even get into this, I have a 9-step process, but like a 3-letter analogy for you to remember. But I want everybody to understand that relationships are not built and kept with one touch point. You don't go date your significant other and then disappear for the rest of your life and then expect that it's just going to maintain themselves. You have to water it. You have to nurture it. You have to build it. There are also going to be times in your life where you're in relationship, in friendship, in romantic relationships where things start to fizzle out and you have to re-engage them. You have to change your approach. You have to communicate differently. You have to reinvent yourself. There are going to be times in life where relationships are no longer there. People might unfollow you. You might unfollow people. I had a very wise shaman when I was in Costa Rica tell me one day. I was really struggling with some friendships and letting go of some things in my life, but also re-engaging people that I really wanted in my life. And he looked me dead in the eye and he said, relationships only happen for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And it was something that really stuck with me. It stayed with me and it stayed with me for a long time. And so what I understand when it comes to relationships, especially in business, in marketing as entrepreneurs, is that our job is to show up as consistently and congruently as possible. That is our duty. Our duty is to do that. And most of the time I get phone calls like, hey, my Instagram's not working, or my email list is dead, or, this used to work and it didn't work. And the reason that happens most of the time is because we've become romantic about how we've done it. We want to check the box. We want to be like, oh, it's an easy thing to do. It's just how I'm going to check the box. Checking boxes do not work in relationships, and marketing is a relationship. Marketing is a two-way, value-based, long-term relationship. Now, when you think about that, it's really important to remember. The principle is that I have to be here. If I'm going to be on social media, I have to be there. If I'm going to be on email, I have to be there. So you make a commitment to the consistency, right? Not to, oh, this tactic or, oh, this strategy or, oh, this is how I'm going to do it, because that just sets you up to fail. You have to be able to reinvent yourself. You have to be able to adapt. You have to be able to match the current state of the world, to match the current state of the platform, or to match the current state of your customer. And so there are going to be times where you are on social media or you are in your business or you are with your team and things are flowing smooth. They're really easy and they're just going. And then all of a sudden it's going to feel like you're brake checked and your face smashes the windshield. And that's an opportunity. That's feedback. That's feedback that something needs to shift, that a change needs to be made, not that I need to quit doing it. It's not a death sentence. It's not I need to quit. It's I need to make an adjustment. Relationships iterate over time. You grow. Your customers grow. Your team grows. Your products grow. The world grows. And our job is to grow with them. And so if you ever find yourself in a situation where everything you've been doing is working, then all of a sudden it's not. Or your team used to have a really good culture and all of a sudden it doesn't. Or your Instagram used to get a whole lot of engagement and now it doesn't. Or your emails used to get a whole lot of responses or clicks and now it don't. Now they don't. That's amazing. That's a gift. That's feedback. That's an invitation for an adjustment. That's an invitation to explore what were you doing that was working that you need to continue doing. What were you doing that was not working? And what are you going to do differently? And are you committing to the principle that I'm going to show up consistently and congruently and reinvent myself as many times as required until it works? And if the answer to that is yes, I guarantee you that it will work. I heard this amazing quote and a Navy SEAL said it. You have to commit to making it to the top of the mountain before you start climbing. Just let that linger. You have to commit to making it to the top of the mountain before you start climbing. You can't start climbing and like, I'm going to go, and then you get in and you're like, I'm tired. I'm not going to do it. I don't want to go anymore. No, there has to be 100% commitment. If you want your email to work, it's 100% commitment. If you want your social media to work, it's 100% commitment. You want your team culture to work, it's 100% committed. If you want your business to work, it's 100% committed. And it's not 100% committed to being right. It's 100% committed to being open to receive the feedback, whether verbal or in lack of response, and making the adjustments needed to make it work. So now let's get into the process of how to re-engage a cold audience, whatever that might be for you. So there are 3 phases to re-engaging a cold audience, and I break it down in the AAA method. Not the AAA that comes to tow your car. This is the AAA that comes to repair your relationship, right? I'm just like a walking cheesy person today. So there's 3 A's. A number 1 is awareness. A number 2 is adjustment. And A number 3 is articulation. So awareness. In order for you to make an adjustment, you have to be aware that something is working or not working, and it goes on either side. And this is where you are aware, agnostic of feelings. I see this a lot. People are like, oh, it's not working. I failed. I'm to blame. And they carry this fault, blame, guilt, and shame. And you know what that does? That makes you right. But if you notice that something's not working and you become aware of it, without beating yourself up, you've given yourself an opportunity to fix it, and then it doesn't become true. See, when things stop working, they're only true when you quit. But if you iterate and adjust, then they're guaranteed to work, and you're continually moving forward and growing. So A number 1 is awareness. A number 2 is adjustment. And I look at it as simple as this: adjustment. What was I doing that was working? What was I doing that was not working? And what can I do differently to create a different possibility? And I commit to that thing and I move forward. And then the third A is articulation. Articulation is being transparent and authentic with the people that you are engaging with, of what you have noticed and become aware of, and what are you committed to doing differently. And this is the part that most people ignore. We are humans. People do not expect perfection, but we tend to hold ourselves to perfection, which only ends up hurting us in the long run. If I'm committed to launching this podcast 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and all of a sudden 6 months from now, for whatever reason, something happens and I don't post 4 episodes. If I come back and I just go Monday, Wednesday, Friday again without acknowledging what happened, people will not trust me because I had a commitment. I had a verbal contract, an expectation contract when I said I will be here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And then I never renegotiated that contract. I broke that contract. And so if I come back and I take on business as usual without acknowledging what was done or what happened, without the story, but just owning and acknowledging it, I can't be trusted again. But if I come back and I'm like, listen, no excuses, something in my life happened, I know I committed to every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I am recommitting right now that this is going to be continuing Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and we've mitigated this from happening again. People can trust me, they can understand me, and I get to share how transparent I am with what happened. And so the 3 A's are awareness, adjustment, and articulation. So now, here's the 9-step process. 9 steps. There are 9 steps, and these are really easy steps, but if you follow these, it works every time. 9 steps to re-engage your customers and your audience. Step number 1, become aware that you haven't shown up. That is what we just talked about. Become aware that you haven't shown up, okay? Once you have awareness, you've already won the game because you are in a position of power. Awareness puts you in a position of power. That is aware, not acting, not reacting, just aware. Step number 2, explore deeply why you stopped. Were you posting every day, then you stopped? Were you emailing every day, then you stopped? Did you burn out? Did you set yourself up to fail? Did you overcompensate? Did you do things for the wrong reasons? Did you overcommit? You have to be willing to be reflective from a position of power. So you have to think about yourself like your own coach, but you can only speak positively to yourself, right? I use this analogy all the time. Every one of you listening to this is an Olympic athlete. You have everything required to win, to compete at the Olympics. But you can't name an Olympic gold medalist without a coach. And the coach isn't there to give them something they don't have. The coach is there to help them navigate blind spots that they potentially can't see. But they don't beat them up. They don't berate them. They help them navigate. You have to be that for yourself or have somebody in your corner that can do that. So step number 1 is you become aware that you haven't shown up. And step number 2 is you explore why you stopped. And you have to be honest with yourself. Self-integrity is the secret to success. If you stop showing up because you literally didn't feel like it, you have to be honest and be like, I didn't feel like it. Because only when you achieve that level of honesty with yourself will you achieve the clarity needed to shift it. Step number 3, forgive yourself and forgive your team. Forgive yourself and forgive your team. This becomes poison if you do not forgive yourself and your team. None of us are perfect, and we try to set ourselves up to be all the time. We are human beings. We are supposed to grow, and we are supposed to iterate. If you made a commitment that you were going to show up every day and you missed a day, great. You have to forgive yourself before you can commit again, or else you're reacting and setting yourself up to fail again. If your team made a commitment to you that they were going to show up every day, beating them down and breaking them down and making them feel bad and wrong is not going to help it fix it. They already feel bad and wrong. They already have regret. And your job is to be a teammate, to bring them up, to see the power in them, and to support them and support yourself in moving forward. So step number 3 is forgive yourself and your team. Step number 4, develop a new plan. Look at what you reflected on, what worked, what didn't work. In your new plan, set yourself up to win. Look at that plan and make it so there is a 0 chance that you can't keep it. Which means if you notice you haven't shown up, jumping on today and starting again without a plan is just going to set you up to fail again. Develop a plan that you and your team all know that you can maintain and succeed with. Non-negotiable, not predicated on your feelings, making sure that you learned the lessons and you permanently plug the holes in that bucket for the future moving forward. Step number 5, acknowledge it to your customers and your audience. If you have not shown up on Instagram for 2 months and you told them you were going to be there every day, or if you told them you were going to be doing a free-for-all Friday and answer questions on Instagram stories on Fridays and you haven't done it, and you want to start doing it again, your first step is to acknowledge from a place of responsibility and power that you gave your word and you did not keep it, and here is your new commitment. The level of depth that you go in sharing is completely up to you. But people will realize, people will know, and if you don't think they will, watch. You'll have people that miss you, and they didn't even realize they missed you until they came back and saw you again, and all they want to know is that you are above brow, that you are there, that you are committed, and really what they want to know is that they can feel safe with you. Your authenticity, your integrity, and your transparency is what gives your customers or audience the ability to feel safe, to advocate their responsibility or their pain or their fears to you as they consume your content and look at you to guide them moving forward in their life or in their business towards their goals. You have to be impeccable with your word. Don Miguel Ruiz said it, the 4 agreements are powerful. Own it, acknowledge it to your customers and to your audience. Step number 6, once you have owned it and acknowledged it, state your commitment going forward. I am committed to this. I am committed to this amount of time. This is when I will be here. And because you have created a plan, that commitment is solid. It can't fail. And so you can weigh your hat on it and you can own it all day. You can commit to it and people can trust it. And it might take time for them to reestablish that trust, but you maintain your resolve with that commitment and it will shift. Step number 7. Once you remake that commitment, you need to communicate what the upcoming weeks will look like. Let's say you stated you were going to go live every Friday and you stopped going live every Friday. Your new commitment is to come back to going live every Friday, but now you need to give tangible evidence of what they can expect. So now that you have a plan, Tell them next Friday, I'm going to be talking about mindset. The Friday after, I'm going to be talking about the mistakes people make with email marketing. The Friday after, I'm going to be talking about loving yourself and filling your tank. And the Friday after, I'm going to be talking about eliminating self-sabotage. Because just giving your word that you're going back Friday is enough to get their attention, but now you can create the trust and authority that you're going to maintain it because you are giving specifics, which makes it real and tangible. Just like if somebody quotes a number like, oh, I've made, $28 today. That's specific. Oh, I've made a couple bucks today. That's not specific. People trust specificity. People trust specificity. So in your plan, get specific. And I don't care how uncomfortable it makes you. That uncomfortness or that discomfort, if I'm being grammatically correct, I think, is what's going to pull you into your best self. Take the time to think about it, to get specific, and then have the intentionality and discipline to maintain that plan so you can establish these deep touch points of trust with your customers. Step 7, open the door to communication and feedback. Marketing is a two-way, value-based, long-term relationship. So your job is when you remake this commitment and you tell them what the upcoming weeks will look like, is to open the door to communication and feedback. You can ask questions. Like, is there anything that you'd like to see from me? Is there anything I can do to support you? What's happened since I've been gone? What's been coming up for you? You get to pick based on the nature of your business, the nature of your avatar, and the relationship between the two. But this is the best opportunity to get as connected as possible to your audience. Because if you do it correctly and you are firm and solid and somebody feels safe, they will tell you everything that you need to keep that going from this point forward. And then the final step, step number 9, maintain your commitment. Maintain your schedule. Maintain your word. Implement all of these things and maintain whatever it is that you promised. And in the worst case scenario that something is to happen, the worst case scenario that you've given your word and for whatever reason you can't, before you break your word, you let everybody know and you renegotiate your commitment, even if it's only for an hour, a day, or a week. But you maintaining above brow integrity is going to be the biggest secret to your success. So that is the AAA method to re-engage a cold audience or customer base. So the AAAs, awareness, adjustment, and articulation. And here is the 9-step process from a high level again. Step number 1, become aware that you haven't shown up. Step number 2, explore why you stopped. Step number 3, forgive yourself and your team. Step number 4, develop a new plan with specificity. Step number 5, acknowledge it to your customers and your audience. Step number 6, state your commitment moving forward. Step number 7, communicate with clarity what the upcoming weeks will look like. Step number 8, open the door to communication and feedback. And step number 9, maintain your schedule. Here is one big important note. Do not overcompensate. If you made a promise to go live every Friday and you stopped, the worst thing you can do is go live every day to try to make up for it. It does not reestablish trust. So for the first 30 days of your re-engagement, you need to maintain the schedule that you committed to. Nothing more, nothing less. Once that maintenance is done, you have established a new baseline of trust and authority, and then for the following 30 days is when you enhance, surprise, and delight. That is how to re-engage an audience using the AAA method. So now, get to it, let's go do it, and remember that relationships always beat algorithms. So I will see you guys in the next episode. Have a beautiful day, because I just felt like kissing all you beautiful humans today. I will see you guys soon. Bye.